no illusions about government. I've served in office. I've been a school trustee. I was elected because I was a smart guy and I listened and I cared, and somehow the day after I assumed office I became stupid, deaf, and callous. Here's what I'll do. First, I'll return your phone calls within a day, or your emails, or your letters. If you think something is so important you've called your county supervisor, you deserve at the very least to be heard. Second, I will remember who I work for at all times, and that is the taxpayers and residents of Sonoma County and no one else. I will respect my constituents. I may not agree with what you vote, but once you've voted, that's done. Your boss, I'll do my best to implement it. I will not take myself too seriously. I've lived in this county my entire life. I remember when it was a cow county, when it was a cheap place to live, when it really was out in the country. And the county supervisor was a guy everybody knew and you had a beer with him after work. I'm still stuck in that era in a lot of ways, but I am not ever going to be entering myself in the parade as your county supervisor. If you want to classify me, I am an economic conservative and a social liberal. I believe that balances out to moderate. I have lived here all my life, and I know one thing about the 1st District. Forget all the red and the blue. Forget the party registrations. This is actually a very moderate district, probably the most moderate in the county. It would be an honor to serve you. I ask for your support. I have information in the back. Please visit my website. Thank you very much. I believe the county has systematically underfunded roads. That's why they're in the condition that they are in. Humboldt County has 1,283 miles of roads versus our nearly 1,400. They are by no means a rich county, and they have way more rainfall than we do. Their roads are in much better shape. The problem is compounded by the poor maintenance. The question is, do I support toll roads? The short answer is no. There isn't a single road in this county anybody would pay to ride on. We are a hostage to Sacramento. It is doubtful that Sacramento will ever get its act together, and we will bear the brunt of it. I consider myself a financial executive. I used to be a banker managing $110 million in commercial credits. I've been a home builder for 23 years, managing millions at a time. I was a school trustee who walked into $54 million in construction projects under a bond. I am extremely comfortable with numbers. The county budget is 384 pages, and I cannot find a single line item that tells me what we spend for roads. I can't find a single line item what mental health spent on Norton Center. I know that we have an unprecedented opportunity coming up in this election. 2 of the supervisors are retiring. If you elect me, or Mr. Peer, or even Mr. Wiesner, you'll have a new board majority. You will have a chance to look anew at this. My recommendation for a new board is an A to Z budgeting session. There are 26 county departments. Call them in one at a time for as long as it takes and go through the whole thing. The question was, what do I think about the county's commitment to economic development? My answer is, what commitment? If the county had a commitment to economic development, the very first thing they would do is reform the Permit and Resource Management Department. Yeah. If you come here from out of the area and go into PRMD for land use information or an application because you want to start a business, you end up in Oregon. Or Solano County, or somewhere else. This is not an easy one. What's happening in the county are the fiscal troubles at the state and federal levels coming home to roost here. That's what's behind the closures of Arenda Center and Norton. I only know what I read in the Press Democrat about Sutter. It was good news that they're not leaving. The other shoe has not dropped. What happens when that contract ends? We need a new way of looking at healthcare. I think the closure, or the possible closure of community hospital, is an opportunity rather than a crisis. It's an antiquated facility and the county owns far too much land in that location. I believe they need a smaller hospital for capital-intensive uses such as surgery, imaging, intensive care, and more shoved out into the communities in clinics. Preventive care costs pennies. Curative care costs dollars. The more we prevent by getting the uninsured and underinsured into community clinics, the more we save on the total package. That's also going to be a boon to the community hospitals. Sonoma Valley Hospital is in crisis. We don't know if it's going to stay or not. If we moved some of that preventive care out to Palm Drive and Sonoma Valley and Hillsburg, as well as community clinics located in places like Roseland, I think we can reduce the entire cost of it. The mental health, I have a face to that. I knew Jeremiah Chass, the young man who was killed by sheriff's deputies. He was a fine young man. We didn't see his slide into mental illness. But that's what I think of, is that young man's face when I say, okay, Norton Center is closed, Arenda Center is closed. You know, we have a moral obligation to help those who cannot help themselves. It's hard to do it without the facilities. Question is, would I take the lead in raising taxes? The answer is no. $1.3 billion is a lot of money. Until I have gone through every last item and gotten the actual information, I cannot say with certainty the county is as efficient as it can be. Frankly, I look really good in a green eye shade and I have one of the sharpest red pencils around. I am never coming to you to say I need more unless I absolutely am convinced of it, and I'm a tough guy to convince. As I've said, it would be an honor to serve you. I have no ambitions beyond county supervisor. I have spent my adult life in the private sector. I have briefly ventured into government, did my time and left. That's exactly what I'll do with the county. This is a very special place that we live in. We need to keep it that way. But we also need to pay attention to the basic business of our economy, our infrastructure, our moral obligations to those who can't help themselves. I am familiar with the history of Sonoma County, not because I've read it, but because I've lived it. It pains me my children won't live here. It pains me that we have become Marin. Nobody asked about growth, and the fact of the matter is we're not really going to be growing that much anymore. The price of housing has taken care of that. In some of our communities, like Sonoma and Hillsburg, it's actually Manhattanizing, where there are only rich and poor and nobody in between. A lot of that is from factors beyond our control. I'd like to keep a hand in the past as much as I can. I remember what it was like. Some of it is still here, and I'm clinging to it. It's something that I want to keep as part of the fabric of Sonoma County. And that is something which is commonsensical, unpretentious, and very real. I am of this place, and I would like to serve this place. Thank you.